Hakadosh Boker or Masechet Sotah Daf Bava Amud Aleph 6a1. The Gemara says Vika de Amre. There are those that say, because basically we just said that if right now she left the house because she destroyed one house, why in the world should we let her go and get married to another man, and then she'll destroy another house because she's being immoral? Remember, a woman that's immoral, she destroys the house. So the Gemara answers, right? Nobody forced him. Nobody forced him to come to get married to this woman. Right? Nobody forced him.
And if it was the man, which one?
So says the Gemara, some people say, Amr of Yosef says of Yosef, the Pasuk called the second guy that gets married to this woman Acher. Why? But it's not the Ben Zug of the first one. Right? Because this guy took a Rishait out of his house. And this guy brought in a Risha'ah, right? A Rishait inside of his house. You're going to tell me to tell him Yibum? Meaning, what's the question that let him do Yibum? This woman is a promiscuous woman. Some woman that she's probably cheating and I don't know what. You're going to tell her, do Yibum? You know, what do you want to do here? So Amaleh comes and he says, and we're going to come and we're going to ask the following question. What happened if she got married to somebody else? Right? And she got, right, niset la'acher umet belo banim, and she died without children. He died, without children. Right? Niset la'acher umet belo banim. Lo tityaber, she's not why daktu kro acher. So gabe hai, the right the hai. So what does it mean now? The acher here is the brother of the yavam. Mia b'shem tov avakaima. But at the end of the day, she was still good, meaning that until now there was no prutza berayot. So maybe I would just say maybe she became a good girl. You understand me? That maybe it's not you're not going to come and say something bad against her, because the pasuk did not call her acher, but rather if you marry her betoch almanut or gerushin, right, of the one of the kilkul, meaning if it was be'emet that she kilkilat atzma, right, she did an avera, and then the guy comes and he gets married to her, whether it's after divorce or after almana, then it makes sense. But maybe here it could be that there was no problem at the end of the day, because let's say she did do the ibum, right? So and then she behaved herself. Right? And now she got divorced or whatever. So maybe it could be. So Rava comes and he says the reason of the Isur of Yibum is Kal Vachomer. Im ne'esra b'mutar, if she became prohibited to her husband, which is permitted to her, ba'asur to the Yavam, which is prohibited to her, lo kol shekemta. Meaning at the end of the day, she's never allowed to get married to the brother-in-law. There's only one exception in the entire world, that's Yibum. Other than Yibum, it doesn't exist. Meaning even after divorce, it doesn't exist. She can never get married to the brother-in-law. So if right now to her husband, that technically she was always permitted, now she becomes prohibited because of this case of the Sotah, Kal Vachomer to the brother, she should be prohibited, right? Because now the guy died, right? The husband died. Kal Vachomer to the brother. So Amaleh says, we're going to ask the question, Kohen Gadol shekideshet almana, when you have a Kohen Gadol that got married to an almana, umet, and then the Kohen Gadol dies, yeshlo et Kohen Idiot, he has a brother that's a Kohen Idiot, lo tityaber, she shouldn't do Yibum. If she's going to be prohibited, or if she's going to be prohibited on that which was permitted to her, which was her first husband, the Kohen Gadol, Pasula Koshka, obviously that she's not allowed to come and get married to the Kohen Idiot. So says, so what happened? One more time. A Kohen Gadol, he went and he got married to what? To an almana. Now remember, an almana is not allowed to get married to a Kohen Gadol. An almana could only get married to a regular Kohen, not a Kohen.
So how did he do it?
He went, he did it with Yisur. He did it, he got married to a Yisur. Right? Remember, in the second Bet HaMikdash, they were paying to be Kohen Gadol. It was a Be'emet Kohen Gadol. They paid, of course. Okay. The second Bet HaMikdash during the Roman Empire, right? As everyone that had a lot of money, they used to pay to become Kohen Gadol, and they used to die every single year on Kippur.
Do they know why a Kohen Gadol cannot marry an almana?
Of course, he's kadosh.
You know why?
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Yeah, he cannot be thinking of it because the Kohen is going to pray. The husband should die. Yeah, that's a famous thing. Okay, you can only in Betula. Yeah.
See, you can do it between Kohanim, Idiot, or...
Of course, because it's an almana. A Kohen is allowed to go married to an almana. You actually have
not even a Kohen Idiot.
It'll like this. Nesra. Over here, Nesra. Right?
We do just one
he comes and he says, no, we have to say Nesra. What does it mean Nesra? Nesra means it becomes prohibited. Hasir she's already prohibited to the husband. Mutarla, if it's going to be mutarla, sulla, right? Who? He says, 1 second. The Kohen Gadol is anyway a sur to the almana. So says the Gemara, Ela, but rather, he comes and he says, right, is like this. Ella eshet kohen shenensa, but an eshet kohen that she becomes, right, honest, umet, right, and he dies, right? That means you understand what happened. An eshet kohen was violated, and then he dies without children. Yesh lo ach halal. He's got a brother that's a halal. Lo tityabem. She shouldn't do yibum. Im nesra b'mutala. If she became prohibited to her husband, ba'asula lo kol sheken. So obviously she shouldn't become permitted to the halal, to the brother-in-law. So answers the Gemara, honest v'Yisrael mishashar. He says, no, but an honest by Yisrael is 100% permitted. Tehami aleka yisura, because here there's no yisur. Meaning by a Yisrael, there's no problem if the wife was violated, right? So therefore, there's going to be a difference in the halacha. Says the Mishnah Vav Amud Aleph, right? 681, the Mishnah. There's certain women that they're always prohibited to eat truma forever. How many a woman that she comes in and she says to her husband, she's prohibited to him. She's not allowed to eat truma. Or edim came, she eats that she's tmea. A woman that says, you know what, I don't want to drink the water. I don't want to drink the sotah waters. Or the husband doesn't want to give her to drink the waters. Or if the husband had relations with her on the way to the path. Meaning if she was smart, she would get the husband to have relations with her on the way to the path to Jerusalem. And by doing that, Kaddish, it said the waters don't even work. So therefore, that's if she was smart and she actually did commit something, she would try to, get him in or whatever it is, try to talk him into it or whatever, and then there'll be a problem. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Amram, says Rav Amram, Hamnita Malan Rav Sheshat, this Rav Sheshat said it, and he opened up her eyes from the Mishnah, Sotah sheyesh la edim b'mdinat hayam. If the Sotah has witnesses in Dinat Yam that he did the Kinun V'Sira, Ena Maim Botkinota. The waters do not check her. My Tamal's reasoning, what does it mean? Teleka diadaba, that nobody knows that she was nitmea la pukeha, to exclude this, ta'ika diadaba. Here they do know. Meaning like this. When do you give the waters the Sotah? If you don't know, right, that she became tmea. But if there was a din, right, that she was tmea, so the waters are not going to come and not going to check her. Okay, which means that even though during the time of the drinking we don't know the mitziyut of the edim, nevertheless there was a edim. That's it. The waters do not work. Meaning, if there's witnesses that she actually did commit the adultery, the waters of Sotah doesn't work. Why? Because the waters of Sotah only work for the doubt, none of them for sure. We don't know that. Meaning, we don't know there's witnesses, but there are witnesses. The fact that there are witnesses, the waters do not work. Okay. We have a proof from the Mishnah. As we said, that the witnesses came that she's tmea. When do the witnesses come? If it's before she drank, so then she's a zunah. Ella, but rather, right? After she drank. So if you're going to tell me that the water doesn't check her, so then it makes sense. But if you're going to tell me that the water checks her, so then you already know that these witnesses are false. Because if not, why didn't she explode? Why didn't she blow up? So it's a proof that so therefore that's the answer that really be'emet, it doesn't work. Meaning if there's witnesses, the water doesn't work. Right? The waters are all, it's mamash, it's incredible. The waters only work if there's no witnesses, even if we don't know about the witnesses. If there was witnesses, water doesn't work.
How the water knows.
The water knows, exactly. Incredible. Because you put the Torah inside. And once you put the Torah inside the water, that's what changes everything. So Elmaleh Rav Yosef said, we're really going to tell you be'emet, ma'im botkinota. Why don't I just say, really be'emet, the water does test her, but she has a zechut. What does it mean? We're going to learn later on that sometimes, really be'emet, she committed adultery. And really be'emet, she's going to die. Right? But even though she's going to die, there's going to be a technical issue. You know what it is? Sometimes she has a zechut, and the zechut will make sure that she's not going to die immediately. She'll wait a year, or whatever it is. So, what is the machlok between them? B'matnata the Rabbi, right? In the matnanot of Rabbi, what does that mean? Right? We learned in Mishnah. Rabbi says, right? You could be told as a chut in the mayim amarim that she's not going to die immediately. Right? So he says, but she's not going to give birth, she's not going to be mishbachat, but she starts deteriorating. And she starts, until she dies. The Sofi metabot, at the end, she's going to die with the same death. But Sheshat holds, according to everybody, she's always going to start becoming, that means even if she does have a zechut, she's going to start deteriorating, becoming worse. According to Rabbi, right, Rav Yosef, he says that according to Rabbi, she's going to start becoming bad, like deteriorating. But according to Rabbanan, she's not going to start deteriorating. So Mativ Rav Shimi Barashi comes and he asks the following question. Rabbi Shimon says, "En zechut tola b'mayim amarim." Right, there's no zechut, which is me tola b'mayim amarim. ואם אתה אומר, if you're going to tell me זכות עולם במים אומרים that there is going to be a זכות, מדחה אתה את המים בפני כל הנשים לשתות. You're going to push it off. ואתה מוצא שם רע, לטהורות ששתו, so now it's going to be a שם רע. A woman comes and there was a shem ra on her. She didn't do anything wrong. She drank the water. Now the reason why nothing's going to happen to her, why is nothing going to happen to her? Right? Why is nothing going to happen to her? He says, yeah, why is nothing going to happen to her? Because she didn't do anything. We're going to say, maybe no, she did do the avera, but even though she did do the avera, she has a zechut. Let's say she came and she started learning, so then she has a zechut. That means really, you're going to have a good girl. What do you mean good girl? The Gemara is going to speak about it. Is it 100% good? No, because at the end of the day, if the husband already did kinu v'sira, she's not the most kosher, but at least good girl means that she didn't actually commit adultery. You understand? That means there are some people like that, by the way. She could speak to another man, but she'll never, chas shalom, do something like that. You understand? She could speak, okay, she'll speak, whatever it is. Some of them, they're coquettes or they're flirts or whatever, they're certain things that do,
what do they say? Nashim kalot.
Datan kalot. As over here in the Gemara, okay, he comes and he says like this, so you're going to put a shem ra on all the women that they're pure, that they drank. And they're going to say, Tmeot are you? Because everyone's going to start saying, these women were also Tmeot, but they have a zechut. Now, if you're going to tell me like the words of Rav Sheshat, if she has witnesses in Dinat Hayam, you're going to be Motzi Shem Ra. They're going to say, really, they were Tmeot, but they have a din in Dinat Hayam. Meaning people are going to say, she drank the water and she didn't explode. Why didn't she explode? She really did the Avera. So, but what happened? But she's got witnesses. There's witnesses against her in Dinat Hayam. So says the Gemara, Shimon Kamarta, according to the Shimon, Midizchut Lotalia, Nami Lotalo. According, you cannot ask this question on Rav Sheshat from Rabbi Shimon, because since the zechut is not tola according to him, so for sure there's witnesses on tumata, also it's not going to be tola. Meaning according to Sheshat Rabbi Shimon, just like zechut doesn't help, witnesses don't help. So it means, because again, according to what we were saying until now, there is a concept that if she has a certain zechut, technically she should have blown up immediately, but she won't because she has a zechut. Or another case, if she has witnesses in Dinatayim, the Bemet she did the Avera. Says the Gemara, according to Rabbi Shimon, he doesn't hold the two of them. They don't exist. So therefore, you cannot ask a question of Rav Sheshat from Rabbi Shimon. So Mativ Rav comes and he asks the question, there are certain women, they have to burn their mincha. Vava Mubet, 6b. Right? What does it mean? A woman that says Tmiani, or witnesses came and they said that she's Tmiah. Meaning, she already came, and since we don't give her to drink, right now their mincha that they brought, they have to bring a meal offering. That meal offering that they just brought, they have to burn it. That way, when did the witnesses come? If you're going to tell me it was before, right? Before what? Before they sanctified it in the Kli Sharet. Why do you have to burn it? Just take it out chuli. But it was afterwards. It's going to be good if you're going to tell me that the water is going to check her, because then but then she could bring the korban. So therefore the sanctification in the beginning was a good sanctification. Because of that, in Chatani Sefet, you have to burn her korban mincha, her meal offering. But if you're going to tell me that the water doesn't check her because she already had witnesses, from the beginning we already realized that it was a mistake when they sanctified this korban in the Kli Sharet. The table chulin, just take out the chulin. So answers the Gemara. Yehuda says, Kegon, for example, shezinta ba'azara. She had relations with somebody else after, right? She was already, after they already sanctified in a Kli Sharet, she had relations in the Azara of the Bet HaMikdash. She went to a small corner and then, boom, she did something. So it was a good sanctification. So Matkin and Mishasha, he says, what are you talking about? The Kohanim, they do the livui. Meaning they don't leave her by herself. How does she come and slip away and start fooling around? They accompany her. And so the Gemara, no, she had relations with Pirchei Kuna. Meaning the Kohanim that were there, they had relations with her. They saw that the Sotah anyway is a woman that she's already very, so they went and she had relations with her. So Ravashi says, she went to the washroom. He says, what? You think that they kept her in the guard? She went to the washroom, and in the washroom she had relations with one of the souls. Rav Papa says, really, we said like at the beginning. If you told me that you go off the chulin, we don't take it out the chulin, we have to burn it. Why? We don't want to say that if you put something in a Kli Sharet, then afterwards you could just take it out for chulin. So that means even though you're right, technically speaking, it should go out for chulin because it was a mistake, We don't want to do that. So that's why we come, we're going to burn it. So Mati Ravmari comes and asks the following question. If right now her mincha became tameh before it got into a kli sharet, so it's like all the minachot. So you should actually come and tipaden. You should redeem it. Then you actually, once it's already in the utensil, you have to burn it. So kadasha chometz, if they went and they sanctified the chometz in the kli sharet, velo speak le'akrivo, and they didn't bring it on the mizbeach at shemetu until he died. What shemeta here until she died, harei karev chometz, you still bring it. Lo speak le'acholot shayim at shemetu, right? What shemeta here. But what happens if they didn't eat the shirayim until he died or she died? Harei kechol menachot, they still eat it. Shala safek ba mitchila, but it came on a safek, meaning sotah comes on the doubt. So kifra sfeka haval chalal. So he says, so now all of a sudden there's like a kapara, right? Kipra sfeka val chalal, they're still there. So she's still fitting for a kapara. So therefore she would still eat it, even though he died or even she died. So then they would still eat it. So if they didn't come and they say that she was actually tmeah, so then you're going to burn it. What happens now if the witnesses were false witnesses? So then her mincha becomes chulin, right? Why? Because then it comes out that really be'emet, she didn't need to drink the waters at all. So if so, the entire thing was a mistake. Remember, if there was a din zomim, that means she never did anything, nothing actually happened. The entire thing was a mistake. It was fabricated from the beginning. So if it goes down to chulin. So says like that, din zomim, come on, you're talking about din zomim? It didn't even color. Everyone knows about din zomim, right? So he says, we actually learn also, right, the like of Shashat, but not because of his reasoning. Meaning, remember, what do we say? We said, if she didn't become Tmeah, she's Teorah. What does that mean? Teorah, only if she's Teorah, but not if she has a dim midat hayam. Meaning, according to that, if she has a dim midat hayam, she will explode. Or that she's Teorah, but she doesn't have a zechut. But not that the women are going to come and start speaking about how she is. Meaning, promiscuous women speak about them. Women say, look at this zona, or look at this, meaning women, they don't like it. If she's going to go beside one of their husbands, whoa. Why? Because they speak amongst themselves. They say, this woman is like a this, you understand? It's very, very problematic. You understand? Like this, yeah? So he says the Gemara that not that women are going to come and start speaking about the promiscuity of this woman. Rabbi Shimon, but according to Shirat Rabbi Shimon, she doesn't make the derasha of the extra vav, because we say, right, utorahi instead of teorahi. But there is, right, there's going to be what? That she has edim in Mirat Hayam. And it's not common to have edim in Mirat Hayam, and therefore we're not going to start suspecting, right, that you're going to have witnesses in Mirat Hayam. We finished until the Mishnah.